it's an honor to be here, and I just want to reiterate that this is not one person's effort. We have a group that works together. We have a group of admins and a group of women that diligently works together, and so this is not just one person. Unfortunately, we cannot have all of us on here at one time. So I am the legislative liaison for the Essure Problems Group. I just wanted to start with a little background on my story. So I went to the doctor, my OBGYN, requesting a tubal after my husband and I decided that our family was complete with our two wonderful boys. My doctor sold me on Essure. He said it was non-surgical. You could go back to work the next day and it had no side effects. I did my research and I found nothing about any bad experience with it. Unfortunately, this was not my experience. From the very beginning, I had a horrible experience with Essure. I lost consciousness during the implantation and endured pain for the next 14 days. This was followed by debilitating side effects over the next couple of years, which led to a partial hysterectomy. My doctor repeatedly told me that I was the only one with side effects and that my side effects were because I was getting older. That went over well. In 2013, I joined the Essure Problems Group after seeing a very short news story about it. At the time, we had about 2,000 members. Today, we have over 32,000 members. So the Essure procedure is a form of permanent female sterilization. It was approved by the FDA in 2002 and came to market as a new and improved form of sterilization, essentially replacing the traditional tubal ligation. Essure is a medical device that is planted into a woman's fallopian tubes. It can be done in an office setting without anesthesia or incisions. Once the coils are placed, the theory is the body will scar around the coils, preventing an egg from entering the uterus, and conception will not occur. As more and more women began joining the group and telling their Essure stories, we noticed a lot of similarities amongst the stories. The device is made of nickel titanium alloy, stainless steel, PET fibers, and nickel. And here is a list of the components of Essure. We have seen many problems in all of these areas. We have gynecological, heavy bleeding, cramping, women getting pregnant and then having pregnancy complications. We've had pain in the abdomen, back, joints, autoimmune diseases such as lupus, MS, fibromyalgia, likely triggered by PET fibers, neurological problems like headaches, brain fog, device malfunctions, breakage, separation, perforations, device dislocations like migration and perforations, and hair loss like thinning hair, bald patches, etc. And this is just a small list. So here are two examples of perforations. The Essure coils have perforated the fallopian tubes and uteruses, ending up in women's bodies in areas such as colons, hips, spines, and this is just to name a few. We're seeing more and more problems. The list of problems is lengthy, but one common issue women are having is a reaction to the materials. We have a high number of women having allergic reactions, hives, itchings, rashes due to the nickel allergy. And these are just a few examples of swelling in the lips, hives, rashes, unexplained. And many of these go away upon removal. Another issue women are having are multiple coils being left in women. Can you count how many are in these pictures? They are just left there without the thought of what will happen to a woman's body. Another problem we're seeing are IUDs intertwined with Essure coils and just being left in women, and they cause a lot of pain for women and bleeding and all kinds of issues. Hair loss is another issue that impacts women in our group. The first picture was on February 2nd, was the day before our sister had her coils removed. And this was the progression after over time and how her hair grew back. She was diagnosed with, and excuse my pronunciation, telogen effluvium. This is acute hair shed from a trigger. Her dermatologist assured her that Essure was the trigger and that once removed, it would grow back, and it did. These are just a few of our e-babies that have been born after their mothers have been implanted with Essure, a permanent contraception. The chances of becoming pregnant with Essure are greater than tubal ligation. The danger and risk to the mother and baby are unknown and have not been studied. In our group alone, we have over 880 reported pregnancies. Our miscarriage rate is showing higher than without Essure. We are currently following the health of e-babies and starting to see some patterns. For example, women can get Essure implanted 6 to 8 weeks after birth, and we are starting to see some trends with mothers that have nursed their baby with Essure in. Now, there's no official protocol for removing Essure, but a surgical removal is necessary. For example, I had a hysterectomy. We are working with doctors that have performed many removals on the best way to protect patients. We are concerned with the recent update in the pamphlet from the company on their recommendations for removal. So that's a little bit of background on what Essure is and what it does to women. And so now we're going to get into our Facebook group and our other work. So initially, Angie Firmalino started the group to warn her female friends and family members, but hundreds and then thousands of women started joining the group and comment, and the growth of the group just kept snowballing. Then she realized there was a problem was much larger than just herself. She decided that it was time to really start spreading awareness. Our group started to reach out to media and television shows, celebrities, and journalists. She got a reply from Erin Brockovich, and she asked if she could call me, and she did. That was our launching point. Having a celebrity willing to speak out about a problem was a game changer. From there, several news stations started doing broadcasts showcasing real women and their stories and including Erin's name, and then our numbers really started to rise. As the media had now joined our campaign to raise awareness, we started to gain momentum with the Congress, and we were constantly in constant contact with the FDA. We were approached by MedWatcher after they launched their app and asked us to work on a paper with them, which was funded by the FDA. We reached out to the FDA for 3 years looking for help. After enough pressure and attention was brought, the FDA finally called a public hearing on Essure. They could no longer ignore us. From that meeting, although it took a lot of time, new label changes were ordered, and now there is a black box warning and a patient-physician checklist for Essure. A huge win, but nothing we settle for. Our fight is not over. We still have a lot more work to do. Every day women are being injured by this device, and we can't stop until Essure is off the market. The Essure Problems Facebook group started out as a support group. The primary focus was to teach women to advocate for themselves in a way that doctors would listen to them and remove Essure. It was an environment where we could share information and experience. Now we have over 50 subgroups around the country. As we observe waves of trends on the page, we used our anger and frustration to become advocates. When new members joined, we taught them how to get their medical records, how to file adverse event reports, etc. For the first 11 years on the market, the average adverse event reports for Essure was 7 per month. Since 2013, we averaged 103 reports per month. But for November 2016, there were 282 adverse events filed on Essure. Now we have over 14,561 adverse events filed. We also collect a lot of data from our members, from surgery surveys to pregnancy surveys to congressional surveys. We have grown quickly and fast. With this many members, we have to have rules to keep the group moving forward. For example, there are no fundraisers, no selling, no off-topic posts, no political posts, etc. Obviously, social media has been the tool that has enabled us to accomplish so much. It helps us in so many ways, from networking, reaching out, rallying our members, connecting with doctors on both sides, and getting media interested. We also utilize our websites, formed a nonprofit organization to handle donations, attended summits, encouraged our members to work with the media, and as Angie spoke about, nationally known activists are great to help your cause along. So lobbying is the area that I do a lot of work in. This arena emerged after the FDA meeting in 2015. We attended our first lobbying trip to DC with Consumers Union. On this trip, we sat down with Congressman Fitzpatrick and discussed the issues surrounding Essure. We talked in depth about Essure being a Class 3 medical device and that the company was protected from litigation, basically taking our rights away. In November 2015, Congressman Fitzpatrick introduced the E-Free Act. It is a bill that would remove preemption status from Essure. As we were meeting with members, we were getting questions on why we were just focusing on Essure. From this, Ariel Grace's Law was introduced on June 8, 2016 in honor of Ariel Grace, who is Christiana Burrell's baby that passed away in utero because of Essure. This bill restores the right to litigation. Also, the Medical Device Guardians Act was introduced the same day. This will make it mandatory for physicians and hospitals to report any adverse event, death, or injury to the FDA. So how can you help? We are encouraging members in our group and outside our group to meet with your senators and your representatives to ask them to support Ariel Grace's Law. It is a bipartisan bill right now, and we are really going to start really pushing it through again once things in Washington settle down a little bit. And also with our members, or if you are with a medical device under PMA, contact your local media and tell your story and talk about Ariel Grace's Law. We also have started another page, a medical device problems page on Facebook. And we always can use donations to ASHES, which is advocating safety in healthcare.